Real quickly before this video starts, I want to thank Juan Manuel MC for suggesting today's video. If you have a video suggestion for me, let me know in the comment section down below. And without further ado, let's get into today's video.
Is there an afterlife? Life after this life ends? There probably isn't a human being who hasn't asked this question at one time or another. And here's the answer. If there is a God, there is an afterlife. It's that simple. And here's why. First, this life is filled with an immeasurable amount of injustice and suffering. The only way there can be some ultimate justice for victims of evil is if there is an afterlife. And the only way comfort is available to those who suffer unjustly, from painful disease and premature death to the death of a child, is if there is an afterlife.
Within most religious theology, you have to believe in the religion in order to get to their afterlife. If you don't believe in that certain religion, you don't get to experience that afterlife. And you experience something worse. Example, hell. Hell is worse than we have on earth because it's, quote, without God's light or love. So it makes it worse. That means that there is eternal torture and eternal amounts of children dying, endless amounts of suffering, endless amounts of disease everywhere. So how is it morally justified that a God can make all these horrible things on earth, but then turn around to those who don't believe in him and say, you had these horrible experiences on the place I made? Sorry, you have to go somewhere else now. Bye-bye!
But such an afterlife exists only if there is a good and just God. A good and just God provides a way to compensate for all the unjust suffering in this world. Second, since God is not physical, the physical world is not the only reality.
That's a pretty big claim. Surely you have some evidence to support it.
There is also a non-physical reality. And we humans have a part of us which, being non-physical, survives the death of our body. We call it the soul. But if there is no God, this physical life is all there is. So, no God, no soul, no afterlife.
Here's the thing. I personally cannot say that there is no soul, that there is no afterlife, and that there is nothing else after this life. There very well could be. I could be wrong. You know, you could be wrong about your belief, and there could be nothing. But since there's the idea out there, I just don't believe it because somebody tells me. I mainly believe it if there's actual evidence behind it. Now, personally, I don't believe there's an afterlife. Doesn't mean I'm right, but I just don't believe in it.
Now, of course, those who doubt God's existence have every reason to doubt an afterlife. But if you believe in a good God, then you have to believe there's an afterlife. If you say you believe in God but not in an afterlife, the God you believe in is not only not good, that God is cruel. That God made a world filled with unjust suffering and just left it at that.
Oh, the irony!
Now, some people who don't believe in an afterlife offer their own version of immortality. I once attended a funeral where the man officiating said, "While there is no afterlife, we do live on through our good works and in the memories of loved ones."
Yeah, I would say that's true.
That's what a lot of people who reject an afterlife want to believe. But the idea that human beings live on through their good works or through the memories of loved ones, which generally means a person's children or grandchildren, is simply meaningless.
I would beg to differ. For example, St. Francis of Assisi. St. Francis was a failed knight that converted to Christianity, and then after his conversion, he tried to live life as close to Jesus as possible by having the vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience. If you were formerly Catholic, this sounds familiar because he founded the Order of Friars Minor, and he basically founded the nuns as well. Basically, St. Francis of Assisi founded 3 orders that mostly were concerned with helping the community and serving the poor. Even now, those orders are still splitting apart and having reformations of their own. So, to say that people live on in memory is meaningless, which is false, because we have to look with those memories to form our future. Also, with the good works go into the memories because you can remember them doing the good works. Thus, it's a teaching lesson for you to learn how to do those good works as well.
If people live on through their good works, then children who die don't live on.
Yet again, incorrect. Although children may not live on through most of their good works, they'll mostly live on in the memories of family members. For example, Newtown, Connecticut. When that school got shot and all those, people died, afterwards, communities rallied together to help make sure that they weren't forgotten. Therefore, having the memories. So, kids dying doesn't mean that they're gone, but their memories would live on.
The number of good works most children are even capable of is minuscule. As for babies who die, well, babies can't engage in good works at all, so I guess they just don't live on.
So, let's say a child or an infant dies of cancer. Now, they may not live on through the good works they've done. Their parents can have a legacy that lives on for them by maybe founding an organization that helps find treatments for cancer. And they name it after their kid. A kid could live on that way through their memory. It doesn't only require good works, it also requires memory as well.
Anyway, the truth is that bad works usually live on longer than nearly any good works.
As much as I hate to say it, I agree with them.
In fact, if works make us immortal, Hitler, with all the evil he did, is far more immortal than the kindest people on earth. As for living on in the memories of our children, what do we say to those who have no children? Sorry, you don't live on.
Then their memory would live on in the case of maybe their parents are still alive. Then their memory would live on that way. Brothers, sisters, cousins, nieces, nephews, aunts, uncles, the creepy guy down the road, Ted. Your memory lives on through them as well, not just your children.
Moreover, living on in anyone's memory, as beautiful as that is not the same as immortality or an afterlife. As Woody Allen put it, I don't want to achieve immortality through my work. I want to achieve it through not dying.
Indeed, a lot of us don't want to die, but we have to accept the fact that we are going to die. If there is an afterlife, so be it. I'll live on that way, good or bad. If there is no afterlife, I'm just gonna have to suck it up and just make the best out of the life I got.
If there's no afterlife, we don't live on. Period. Let's be honest enough to acknowledge that.
In the sense of our souls not living on, yes, I would agree with you.
If there's no afterlife, none of us will ever again be with those we most love and who love us. If there's no afterlife, neither anyone murdered nor any murderer will ever receive ultimate justice. If there's no afterlife, this life, for the vast majority of people who ever lived and for those alive now, is a meaningless crapshoot. Finally, people always ask me, so what happens in the afterlife? To which I can only respond, I don't know, but I do know this. My belief in God and the afterlife keeps me sane. The thought that this life is all there is means that torturers get away with the horrors they have engaged in.
Depends. Was the torturer captured and put in jail or possibly put to death sentence? If not, then yeah, that sucks. But if they were captured and caught, then that would be the justice that they'd get on this earth.
It means that this life is random and pointless.
Like I said in my video, questions atheists can't answer, link in the description down below. Someone's purpose in life could be a dancer, a music producer, a Broadway actor, or even make a YouTube video. It depends on the person to form their own path in life. So technically, in that sense, life wouldn't be pointless, but we are here for a pointless reason.
And it means that I will never again see anyone I love. This would drive me mad. In fact, I don't see how it wouldn't drive anyone mad who cares about suffering and who loves anyone.
Now, the thought of death and people dying and you not ever seeing them again sucks a lot. I'm not even going to lie. When my grandmother passed away, I think a year and a half ago, I wasn't very happy about it. And due to the fact that I'm an atheist and I don't believe there is an afterlife, it just adds an extra sting to it. However, that person would want you to move on most likely. They want you to continue living your life even though theirs is over. And I know that even though they are gone, their memory still lives inside of me. I can try and strive to be the best type of person that they were, and then the best type of person that I can be in contrast to them.
So is there an afterlife? If there is a God, of course there is.